for a level 1 invade here, not only because, like you're alluding to, the fact that Braum is so good at level 1 with the concussive blows and the Winter's Bite, but also you're against Zeros' Fiora. I think they're hiding in Fog of War on the top side. Yep.
Zeros, though, in the right spot. Lunges out of the way, does not get tagged by Braum Q.
But I think it's important to peek in here, try to get information about where Meliodas is going to be starting, and then if they continue to push in, placing wards, and maybe, again, trying to split the map or look for some vertical jungling.
Unfortunately for them, no deep vision placed, and PVB move their bot lane to make sure to ward the red buff, and we'll see if it goes there. At least get information on one half of the map. As we can see, looks like both junglers currently heading towards that red.
One of the tricks that Pallet and Big Koro love to play, especially with Galio, is that when they don't have to leash for Meliodas, they'll actually walk down into the bot lane, get pushed forward really far in that brush, and try to get a surprise sneak attack as the 2v2 walks in. I think because it's Braum and Lucian, they won't be so audacious, if you will. But always keep track of how those guys specifically are setting up their 1v1, because often they don't have to leash for Meliodas.
Instead, they'll just start the wave early, so get a bit of an advantage there for the early push. And Anasik there, as we mentioned, on his red. Meliodas has finished his and now is on to his next camp. That's Krugs. And we'll see again. We saw a lot more bot lane attention in the last game here. With a pick like Fiora, have to think. Although I feel like I say this every game, and then no one ganks for Zeros until the one time you just don't say it, and then they chain gank for him. But I would expect some attention here in the early game.
And I think it's a credit to the fact that Zeros is able to make his own leads quite successfully. He's really good at recognizing when, you know, Meliodas isn't on his side of the map, so he needs to have the minion wave pushed into him, or when he does have the emphasis that his jungler can join him, that he can be aggressive, he can trade on his superior mechanics and really start to put people down. I think in some of the matchups versus Impact, he was something like 40 CS up, so in the 1v1, he is very impressive.
And that's certainly been true for him. Throughout his domestic career, he dominates the top lane in VCS. Of course, a very different set and caliber of opponents when you move to international, but certainly right now looking good as zoned boss off quite a lot of that wave, and right now looking 10 CS up, although I imagine that won't stay true as the wave eventually will crash toward.
I want to quickly talk about the jungle pathing as we see Ananastic is about to secure both Scuttle Crabs here. It was a red into Krug, into Scuttle, into Raptor start there for Meliodas. And by taking your Krug camp so early, you reset the timer on having Krugs available, which is the #1 experience camp for the jungler. And so it feels like a kind of like a power farm type of pathing, although things getting changed up now as we're posturing for a gank.
Yeah, not very far forward. Stun gonna miss though from No Man's. There's the root gonna run away. The phase rush procs as well. So now Meliodas knows he actually stole the blue buff away, which Ananasik does not know about yet.
And I love this adaptation here. We'll see where Ananasik goes. He's walking into the mid lane to help No Man's push it forward in case Rek'Sai is still around. They don't have perfect information about where Meliodas is. And if Ananasik doesn't walk over to the blue buff, then he is going to get 3 buffed again by Meliodas.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 2 for 2 on 3 buffs here, and by the looks of things, as Meliodas cruises down towards the blue, and Anasik without that information will go to what we know to be the wrong side of the jungle.
And what incredible adaptation. It felt like Meliodas was just gonna go for the power farm, you know, by resetting his Krug camp really early on in his jungle pathing, he can then just go for full clears, reset, walk back up to Krugs, and he's like, my composition scaling, I don't really need to muscle through this lane phase anyway, like Sejuani, this is yours, but as soon as he's giving information, he strikes.
Actually a gank first instead, they're going to go in after the Braum. Santa's flashed away, but already ignited down. Stand behind Gadget, but the flash forward from Big Koro, he wants it, he will get it. It's first blood once more.
So well done right there. A lot expended, but Pallet still holding his flash, and that's the key thing for me. The fact that they still have so much kill pressure in this lane, despite already feeding first blood to Big Koro, because Galio has access to the flash taunt.
Also Zeros in top lane, boss, gets slowed by the riposte. Those vitals in nice spots there as Zeros finding those procs. The CS has evened up, which I think we expected, but now Zeros has to play on his weak side of the map as Ananasik is up here in top lane. Zeros does not have a ward ready, but I think suspects something might be happening here.
Oh, he definitely suspects it, but can he survive it? Flash up.
I think Riposte still down, but he does have that summoner spell. Zeros moves over, dances on, the stun gonna land, the chain CC is good, and Boss able to grab a kill for himself.
And the answer is no, he does not survive. It doesn't expend the flash, however, and does have access to TP. So we'll see if it's the scenario where huge 2 waves crashing into him. If he teleports back, this could be another trigger for Sejuani just to revisit the gank as we look back bottom.
However, you did see Meliodas sacrifice a potential buff to try and get a kill, and Big Koro flashing in, making it look nice and stylish. They did follow for the next kill, but could not grab it. This dive, however, going very nicely on the other side of the map.
And it feels like a tale of two junglers. You know, as soon as information is giving over, someone is reacting to something on the map.
Well, so far, again, Meliodas has won out in most of those exchanges. He actually went over, took the Raptor camp. He's now taking Krugs away. Zananasik is back taking Crabs for himself. Oh, actually going to be stunned there. Good flash stun by Nomads, and that'll secure a kill. This time, Meli was too greedy.
Yeah, finally punish, and a good rotation there from Nomads. So just heads up, check if the Rek'Sai was hovering around, and picks himself up some gold.
So TP going over, straight in onto Zeros, who's also TP'd back in. Stun lands, Riposto for the slow, as Zeros is just continuing to proc Vitals. No ultis, but we can see the jungler all boss now level 6, and Zeros, I think this is the part where he gets a bit greedy. That's a nice flash, however. Gets himself out to safety.
Gets over the big wall. I love the fact that Boss was trying to bait him in, however, looked like Fiora was going to take that 1v1 matchup, make sure like, no, I got access to level 6, we push you off 2 waves, I have the EXP advantage here, and then Anonasik comes around the corner. So while Zeros looks flashy, gets out with his life, it's still a big win for Boss and Anonasik.
Yeah, with flashes like that, you can get out of those situations, but it still costs you a lot, as you mentioned. Demolish gonna proc. That'll be at least 1 plate over to Vega here as Anonasik and Boss split that early gold and make it 2, as Boss again springboarded nicely here in the top lane as Meliodas continuing to steal jungle away will actually take the red buff unless Santos runs interference, but doesn't check the brush, and that blue goes over. Zeros though, good riposte actually, now gonna try and make some sort of 1v2 outplay. We're gonna get the first kill, finds it, ulti procs, and now Boss, I think he has to get out of there, he's got no ulti, Zeros still chasing.
I do not know how this guy makes miracles out of nothing. Crazy play from Zeros right there. Managed to get something back for himself. And if he can get this wave shoved in, maybe start inching back some of that CS.
And again, with Meliodas, leaving his top laner just fine in a 1v2 situation, means that Gadget going to be forced off this turret, and plates will go over to Big Koro and Pallet.
Meanwhile, though, the tempo of the game is still starting to speed up. So, yeah, Zeros makes the miracle play, starts to grab something back on the top side. Meanwhile, while he's absorbing so much attention from 2 members, Meliodas just sets up another objective. There's plates going down in the bottom lane. There's Zeros winning the 1v1 in the top side, and now Meliodas picking up a free dragon.
I'm also pretty confident that that blue buff has been up since the start of the game. So he'll finally start it off, although I think he's going to donate it, but let's watch this again.
And you know, I was just about to comment on the fact that Zeros is sitting on basically all longswords, whereas he's competing against a Tiamat. So the play style or a play pattern was going to be that Aurelia was always going to have the priority of the shove there with the Tiamat, whereas Zeros would only win if it went for an all-in engagement. So the fact that he finds it in a 2v1 is awesome.
Bottom lane though, Meliodas gets the kill onto Gadget. Now Anonasik there, too late to try and save his teammates, and Meliodas will keep chasing. Pallet forward, finds the taunt, grabs Santa's. Big Koro there needs to roam himself over. Pallet getting low, but here's the Kai'Sa finally joining the fray. Meliodas gets the kills on knockups found for Pallet's Justice Punch. And PVB winning out in that 3v3.
Curious how it started, though. The fact that, you know, people are getting caught out in their own jungle.
Another good stun. Oh no, had enough to flash out. Now going to realm warp out to safety. Has teammates on that side, so can't chase there for Vega.
But doing his job, Nom was actually just posturing there because he was trying to zone off Nomads and kind of keep information if Vega Squadron were going to collapse and try to retaliate in this bot lane. So getting another peek about how all of this started, and it was a failed flash and another fight, just 2v2 up in this bot lane. These bot laners, they cannot stop.
They certainly cannot. Big Koro, as they check back in, actually 30 CS ahead of his opponent. As the play continues, PVB know they've just got more strength here.
And Vega Squadron, to be frank, you just have to learn how to lose gracefully in these types of scenarios. To be that far down and, you know, still caught out in the lane like this, it feels nice to get one back for Anonasik, but Gadget is just finding himself further and further into a hole on a champion that he is not going to scale as well against.
Certainly golf clap there for the pick. Pallet does go down, but Big Koro's already finished that Stormrazor. As we already pointed out, that CS League, which is only now 20. Still very healthy off to another good start here on Kai'Sa. And with Zeros, you know, finding his advantage now, grab his own Tiamat, already got himself a kill in that little outplay. Feels like the top side's maybe on a bit more of its own for a little while longer, and with an Infernal Drake coming up in a number of minutes.
I mean, it must be because everything happens bot lane. You can't even leave the top laners on their own devices.
Both junglers, though, finding the right read. Actually up here in the top side right now, so could see a 2v2 develop. Anonasik will walk over a control ward. Gonna hit down the plant just to make sure no one's there in the Herald. You also see the control ward there. Back down bot side though, Santa's still only level 5. Big Coro level 7. Very significant discrepancy there in the 2v2. Calling out from Gadget doesn't really find much, and just feels like the bot lane's only getting stronger.
Yeah, and now that culling is taken care of, I expect that Big Coro and Pallet, they're just eyeing him up. They're looking for their window. You can see it, Pallet just sprinting forward. He wants blood. He's like, you cannot compete with us. We will just kill you.
Kaiser's level 8. Sandus is still level 5.
It's about to get worse because here comes Rise and Meliodas.
Yeah, again, just have to force them off here. Vega, rightfully, do not go there, but it just feels so bad for Oscurin.
Someone has to help them, but the only safe route here, because you can see how carefully Nomans is trying to like smoke PVB out of his jungle, is for an Anasik. Maybe?
Wants it, an Anasik there with a counter gank. Meliodas forced to flash over. Good ult finds it. There's a Syndra follow-up. Meliodas low, but not fallen just yet. Flash forward. W is going to grab it. Here's the Galio roaming in. Pallet doesn't grab the knockup, but again, Nor's going to keep chasing in onto the Sejuani. Big Coro's here. He just wants a few more kills. He's going to grab it. Nice snipe on the Void Seeker. Finds yet another kill.
And you can see what an Anasik is thinking. He wants to make use of the fact that he has a Syndra. You have so much burst damage at this low of level between the Sejuani and the Syndra, and he does rightfully find the shutdown, but it just takes so long. That hurts.
Zeros reads Boss's mind, just lunges out of the way of that ulti, and that's all called off for Boss in that trade. Zeros might have been fancy a dive here.
He's clearing up the creeps.
Demolish proc, lunges out. Just wanted a bit of damage on the turret.
And look at where Anasik is. He's sprinting up into the top lane. So I think this is Zeros not only trying to read what Boss is doing, but also read what his jungler is possibly up to. His
jungler, though, already on this side as well. Takes down the Scuttle Crab and hops underground for some Tremor Sense. Is now going to see that Anasik is in the area. So Zeros will have the information. Maybe he just fancies another 1v2. Not yet, it seems.
But look at this. The fact that Meliodas finds where the enemy jungler is and then just pieces out. You know, this isn't a situation where we can look for this 2v2 here, like I'm gonna hide around the corner, let's try to bait them. It's, I got the information, let's quickly continue to try to set up multiple objectives on this map so that when one thing goes right, it all goes right. Did you see that?
They did.
That was interesting.
It was. Null has arrived though.
What?
People completed. I'm immediately that dissipated and went invisible. Don't worry about it. As Infernal Drake also up in 5 seconds, but Phong Vũ Buffalo actually want the Rift Herald here.
And this is part of one of those high-tempo setups. It's that Meliodas finds where Anasik is, immediately goes back to his jungle, holds the mid wave, the TPs come in, everyone's rotated, and suddenly what could have just been a 2v2 topside to help out Zeros is, okay, you get your back, we already pushed him under the tower, let's set up Rift Herald.
Speaking of Zeros, a man of one way in this 1v1, Ravenous Hydra now completed, so certainly looking for a 1v1 probably throughout most of this game. Great double taunt though from Pallet, but Vega might try and fight in. They find Meliodas, they need to snipe him down. That should be Rift Herald over, but the fight's still going to continue. Big Coro going to try and find them, pick up the Rift Herald over. He needs to pick up the eye, he does get it, but it will cost him his life.
Anasik is trying his hardest though to get Vega Squadron back into this game. 3-3-1 right now on the Sejuani. Managed to also secure the Rift Herald for himself there, as now mid.
I take it all back. Zeros goes mid for the dive, doesn't need it as Null, able to find the kill with an assist over from the Fiora. Also gets a TP out of it as well, but Boss probably does not want to tussle here with Fiora.
And this is the feels bad moment where Anasik is actually having a good game. He's trying to go blow for blow with Meliodas here. The rest of his map just unfortunately is not on the same page. They're not in the same fight.
We see this again. Pallet thinks he's got an opportunity, but Vegas say this time we can fight.
And I actually want to point at Null here. I think if he actually just turned around and assisted with Meliodas to burn down the Rift Herald, you're in a very different situation. Like, let Pallet zone them away. It's clear that you weren't looking to kill them there, that it was to keep them away from the Rift Herald.
Zeros, though, too bloodthirsty, does chase for the kill, and Null does get it at least. So there was an extra one in there that slipped my mind earlier, but PVB still rocketing up in gold. 4,000 ahead here at 14.5 minutes, and Little Infernal Drake has been abandoned for a number of minutes, but again, there's so much movement around the map. Vega just kind of forced to respond, although this time might be setting something up here. Stun lands in onto Pallet. Meliodas also over the wall, but can see the movement with the Tremor Sense, so knows that Vega have grouped to try and take this objective.
Yeah, trying to muscle for control. What's interesting to me is that Vega grouped with all 5 members, even now Nomans cutting down the river, whereas it's very clear that PVB recognized that the first step to this Infernal Drake was to secure priority over bottom, and instead of pulling down Fiora, they reset Zeros and they send him top lane. And you'll see trades like this all the time from PvP where they kind of think farther ahead. Like, is it nice to have the battle stats of the Infernal? Absolutely. But it's more important for us to kind of get the gold from the towers themselves and get immediate advantage versus like waiting waiting on the scaling of the Infernal.
Yeah, as a note, the gold lead that's pretty substantial here for Phong Vũ Buffalo is still without the first turret of this game being taken, so a lot of gold left in one of those turrets if he can knock it down.
And I think this is quite counterintuitive to what a lot of people will read on PVB. They're not just a mindless fight team, although as I say that, mindless fighting.
Yeah, Null forced to flash away, and Nanasik does look mid with the ulti.
It's the fact that they will look for cross-map objective trades like that top tower for the Infernal priority.
Fiora is a champion that kind of bends the game to her will in a lot of ways. Zeros, they're going to pop the ulti, try and duel boss, but No Man's right behind him. Vanguard's Edge was the follow-up, and Zeros is able to get the vitals down still. The shutdown lands for boss. Now Meliodas in a 1v3. Cannot escape, will get a kill as a result, but stunned down and killed by No Man's in the end.
But the fact that it's Syndra in particular that's picking up a lot of that kill gold is now a possible play set at bottom. Pallet was spotted out by a ward though. He's still going.
He is certainly going. Has the flash ready, does not commit it, and barely misses the taunt onto Santa's. Gadget though going back in, but Big Cora says, hey, I'm here too.
I think Big Cora says, hey, these minions are worth more to me than their lives.
He's got 3 kills, so it's kind of impressive, but again, Zeros chasing in, and this is some of the greed that we can see from him as well.
Some of the greed. I'm going to point out that there was a Rift Tail that was dropped down into the mid lane, so it's not like Null's going to leave that to its own devices on his tower. He's not rotating with you guys.
Distraction worked there, at least for the Sejuani. But unfortunately, that still means that Rift Tail will not take a turret, and Zeros did get the top outer turret, so he collects that gold. Now has a fade for himself, building in towards what actually probably Trinity Force, although of course Black Cleaver a decent option as well.
Can you imagine being a Nanasik, looking for a gank, and the guy that you're going to gank immediately turns and lunges towards you? That is the state of this game, this bot lane. Pallet was not having any of that.
I mean, since that 1v2, that's kind of been the story, at least on the top lane.
Who's ganking who there? You will come down here, you will bring double buff, and I will like it.
And Zeros now with a long lane to play in. And that Ravenous Hydra. This is where Fiora can start to get a little out of hand. Boss still working on item number 1. Actually also had to divert into an Executioner's Calling, because you must cut the healing from Fiora to have any chance in a 1v1, but
in a very long, sustained 1v1.
Only delaying the pain that Zeros is bringing to that 1v1. Whether you like it or not, he's making the game about himself in a few ways, although rotating mid, the ganking Fiora, not something we always see. Onto No Man's here to kick it off, but an Nanasik might be an easier target. Gadget here, though, to try and turn it back around. Meliodas looks for the knock-up, finds it, but he's going to get himself stunned. Actually pops into the ulti to avoid the CC, but will still fall down. Vega starting to punish his over-aggression.
Way too deep there. An excellent setup there. Nanasik, again, is still, it feels like the hard carry, but with some of those previous kills now falling into the pocket of No Man's, it feels like he has someone to actually play around. This Syndra Sejuani combo is starting to be devastating, despite the fact that Null had an excellent sidestep on the Sejuani ult.
Left that one again. Stun starts off. Null goes in.
Exactly, and you can see that he's just trying to set up for a Nanasik to just dunk onto Null, but sidesteps the ult. Doesn't matter though, because they had the numbers advantage. Their bot lane finally rotated an advantage for them. Gadget doing a great job zoning away anyone else to follow up. And Meliodas is like, I'm in too deep, I must go deeper.
That can be the motto of the top half of the map.
I'm not getting out of this one, guys. I'm taking him with me.
All right, well, again, still, despite all that, still 4,500 gold ahead for Phong Vũ Buffalo. And most notably, in those last 2 fights, Big Cora has not been present, and he's now finished his Ginsu's Rage Blade.
He's also 40 CS up.
When he makes his way into a team fight, Big Cora will certainly make his presence known.
And it kind of feels like this is going to be about execution, at least at this point in the game. Like, does Big Cora survive the Sejuani ultimate and the Syndra ultimate? If yes, Phong Vũ Buffalo probably gonna win. If no, there's your hope for Vega Squadron.
Well, certainly have the CC to do it, but they're continuing to move around the map here. Phong Vũ Buffalo up 2 turrets to 0, so again, Zeros having a great time, but another 1v2 situation is upon us. We'll see how Zeros does this time.
He was spotted out by a ward, so Phong Vũ Buffalo know exactly what's up here.
Yeah, this time it's Zeros kind of knowing also that his jungler is coming up.
And I also think it's respect to the fact that they're keeping track of Null's TP timer, although...
I expect, yeah, straight in. Big Cora wants to start it off. Realm up in for Null. Big Cora's going to face-take the CC. Power finds the taunt. Santa's into stasis, but Big Cora's still alive. Made such a bold play and will be rewarded with a death. That's too bold indeed. Oh. Now Vanguard's Edge finds 3. Pallet just waiting in the wall as Zeros does get the kill on an Nanasik on the other side of the play. Into boss now for the next one. Zeros insta-flashes over to try and seal it all, and PVB did make it in time. Big Cora may have made the mistake But his team's still there to clean up the mess.
But it is a 2-for-2 trade, so Big Koro, very bold maneuver here. No man's mid.
Zeros doesn't have a flash, so surely he's not going to go in. In fact, plus cone over the wall just to make No Man's safe.
No, but he knows that No Man's doesn't have any mana. So he's looking at him like, you get 2 tries.
It's a tough fight. Oh, had enough mana to steal away the red buff, so he's going to keep that one safe and away from Zeros.
So who gets the last laugh at the end?
Not Big Koro. That play was, as you said, Frostgurren, too bold.
Too bold. In China, they say 2 hero.
That was
2 hero.
That was absolutely 2 hero. So it's also a Cloud Drake Meliodas. Gonna refocus the team onto the objectives briefly, at least remembers that it's there. Blue buff over to Null, who's continuing to stack up farm and gold, so mid laners both looking decent here in this one.
Okay, guys, we need to reset. We need to calm down here just a little bit. Make sure that when you're fighting over something worth it. And it felt like this one was just about the swagger and the flex. The fact that Big Koro, he just doesn't have perfect information, and he just flies in there, and then he's immediately punished.
Like you said, the CC is there to lock down the Kai'Sa, so if it lands, generally this kind of stuff will happen, and Big Koro paid the price.
Yeah, just maybe he thought Sejuani was on his team.
Zeros, though, chases down the Sejuani under the turret, now flashes after boss, also chasing near the turret, so certainly bold is a good word to describe the state that Phong Vũ Buffalo are in.
The scary thing, though, is that Zeros is now starting to pick up some of these kills, so it's no longer just being funneled heavily into Meliodas or Big Koro. And that's the nice thing about PVB's setup right now, is that the gold feels like it's split across all of their members on a comp that scales better, whereas unless Nanasik and No Man's are just showing up and just nailing these team fights, the same cannot be said for Vega Squadron's comp.
And in some ways it feels like, to a less extreme degree, but still similar here for Vega, where you went to tussle with Phong Vũ Buffalo early and you paid the price again. It's not as steep as it was in game number 1, but Phong Vũ Buffalo certainly know that they're playing with a gold lead.
And it feels bad because you look at Vega's composition, you know, this was supposed to be much stronger in the lane phase this time around, and it's still just not connecting with it. And they brought the resources to help them. Gadget and Santas in particular are just not having a good tournament right now.
Certainly Big Koro and Palette continuing to have a strong showing for themselves here at MSI 2019. Still, also, the map being so small for Vega is just always troublesome, especially when you're getting 1-3-1, which Ryze and Fiora will have a tendency to do. Collapse here on mid, will zone them away, and again, just a few hits on the turret, although ulti committed. Palette going in, looking to find the taunt. Can't choose between them, finally gets the jungler. Norther also roamed up, so that's Gadget dead as he got caught up at the pass. And now Braum ulti gonna try and buy some time redemption to reset here for PVB. And they're going to keep fighting. Meliodas finds to knock up Big Koro, grabs a double, make it 3 as Null able to grab the next kill in onto an Nanasik.
Zeros is cutting them off. That tower is 1 hit from just popping down. Vega Squadron needs to back up.
Tower falls down. Boss and No Man maybe too far forward. Perhaps Baron on the brains instead for the Buffalo.
And I feel like a Nanasik, he recognizes that his map has collapsed around him, and he's just trying to find the right play. Unfortunately, he can't figure out which side to actually play around because none of his sides are winning. It means that he falls down, there's no jungler to contest, and this is a free Baron, and what looks like a very handed game.
You can only have so many buckets in so many hands to bail the water out of the boat for Frostgurren, and also the boat's on fire. It's just tough. Vega, they'll try and get something here. A TP will be committed by Phong Vũ. Try and save the turret. No Man's with the ulti. Knowles pops the Seraphs. And that's going to be enough to stay alive and keep the minions away from the structure.
But that's the state of the game that we're at. You see the TP coming down. You know exactly who's it going to be and what they're landing with.
Ooh, I like this. On the pallet here. Very sneaky fog of war play from Vega. That will be a kill gifted over as Boss able to collect it.
Okay, we're on the board. We're back, boys.
See if they can take something here. Culling onto Null. Yeah, the Seraph still. Must have seen that one, but
careful.
Not that healthy on the rise. They're trying to commit for the turret. They will finally take their first tower of the game. But still down about 7,000 gold.
That's the best look I've gotten from Vega Squadron this game, though. That feels reassuring. They recognize where they had the tempo. They're trying to punish the fact that PVB are still being very disrespectful for how they're walking up to to Vega Squadron and then just trying to brute force with their gold lead around. So Vega Squadron will say, no, you must give us at least this much respect.
And I like the idea of, you know, just letting Phong Vũ play into you a little bit more, you know, being reactionary and punishing mistakes. That, of course, requires information, which in the early game maybe wasn't there as much.
And I think it's also really important that they were finally grouped up.
Make it short for us, because Zeros is fighting again. Boss now the target. Big Cora's here as well. I think they can continue. W's going to miss, though. Kai'Sa needs a little bit more to charge in there. 2v3 though, as we can see Santa's insta-cleanse out of the ulti. Here comes the Galio charging in. That's Pallet going to try and save the day, and Sanders will be the first target. Pallet found a massive flush taunt as Big Cora grabs another.
Pallet for president. That's like the 4th 3-man taunt that he has found.
Yeah, you look at Big Cora's score and you think he's doing good, but always check the support next to the marksman. Ulti there from No Man's, but Pallet pops the blast gun out to safety. And a reminder that Phong Vũ Buffalo do still have Baron. So these turrets are going to melt pretty swiftly with the wave stacked up.
I mean, silver lining, the base isn't destroyed yet for Vega Squadron, but they are very quickly getting shoved in. And I was just commenting how, you know, the nice thing was is that Vega Squadron were finally grouped up. Oh no.
The boat's then kicking on fire, but it's still intact for Oscarin. 6 tower goes down.
But against this combo from Phong Vũ Buffalo, we talked about it in Champion Select, its ability to split up the map and then use its mobility to quickly collapse either side is what's so devastating here. So Vega Squadron, they want to pair up with Ananasik and No Man to kind of follow that big burst damage, but they can't get there.
I think for me also is one of the reasons Ryze is such a powerful champion. Just very, very good in the side lane. And you don't have to pick something like the Fiora to make it work. But certainly that will kind of show you the extreme of this sort of splitting up of the map.
Just a hit and run League of Legends.
Kind of hit, run, and then hit again in the case
And
of
again,
Phong Vũ
and
Buffalo.
again, and again.
Yeah, but gotta go back, spend some gold. Baron will tick down, so only 4,400 gold or so on the Baron power play, and make it a Cloud Drake to boot for a bit of extra there for Buffalo. Does help them get around the map. Certainly nice that they actually got 3 for themselves. But I mean, as soon as you saw this play, you knew Zeros was going in.
The confidence and knowing that they needed at least 2 members to try to contest with this Fiora, and then the fact that they're able to collapse faster, that this is never going to be a fair fight unless they have a massive numbers advantage for Vega Squadron. Props on the cleanse there from Big Coro, basically frame perfect.
And then, as you said, Pallet swoops in, continues his strong campaign in the presidency, and finds a 3-man taunt. As Phong Vũ Buffalo up about 12,000 gold, goodness.
I lost his QSS. I was looking at Big Coro's items. I was like, I swear he had a QSS. Did he sell it? He's selling a lot of things, but...
Wrapped it around the handle of his sword.
He upgraded it. I normally don't see that item upgraded.
Well, has starting to run out of things to buy there on the Kai'Sa. Still 1 slot, though, open for Big Coro. Nor also Realm up to the top lane because he has decided that he must take the top inhibitor at all costs. With a minute 40 on Baron, we have Zeros in the long lane there in the bottom side.
And this is how it's going to play out for the map state for Phong Vũ Buffalo. They're going to have Ryze and Fiora constantly cheating forward in those long lanes, and then it's going to be about rotating very quickly with the Kai'Sa ultimate or the Galio ultimate to either side.
Well, Ananasik back down here, but Zeros already showed that he's feeling confident in any sort of 1v2. Gonna start it off again here. Zeros there with a riposte, finds a stun until Aurelia pops the ulti just to start the duel, has the GA up as well. Will now resurrect. Here's a redemption, but a little mistimed. Looks for the stun, does find it, but again, losing the structures is the big deal here.
But look at Vega Squadron. Oh.
Yeah, Nor's taking matters into his own hands, Froskurin.
Well, he got it. You said that eventually at all costs.
Again, it's taking the turret. Now gonna just move in. Zeros still playing around. Walks into there. Oh, Galio's in. That's not very fair at all, is it? And Ananasik gonna get chunked out. Pallet there with another taunt. And Ignite down, not quite enough to kill Sejuani, but they're losing the base. So 3 members of Vega will chase onto 2 members of the Phong Vũ Buffalo, and the rest of them will steamroll down those inhibs.
And Vega Squadron are just trying to find something that they can crack, but nothing is breaking here for Phong Vũ Buffalo.
And again, Meliodas, this time he's the one with the CC, finds the knock-up, flashed in to get it. Looks like they are going to just take the last inhibitor tower and finish off the inhib as well. Jungle up in about 20 seconds here for Vega, so PVB will leave the area, but it's one of those things when all 3 lanes are getting pushed in, you know, this far behind, it just feels like you have no good choices.
And especially when the Baron is going to be spawning in 3 seconds right now, so Vega Squadron, I think they clear out their base, and maybe you sprint towards the Baron, you try to place some vision and take the gamble on it, but they know they've got one option, and it's this fight one over Baron.
Well, again, PVB go back, reset. Make sure to run there. Also, Ananasik was the one that was dead, so he'll be more delayed to the objective. They do have a little blue trinket on it, so they know it hasn't been started just yet, but soon that vision will be snuffed out. Of course, Zeros is here hiding in a brush. Vanguard's Edge lands in there for Boss. Zeros trying to dance around. Nice maneuver, though, from the Aurelia. But Zeros going to keep chasing. He's got his flash. So does Boss. Stun's going to land, and Aurelia going to keep running the wrong way, unfortunately.
How far can she run, though?
Keeps going in towards the turret, maybe looking for the execute. Super Minions wave hello. Boss taking the tower hits. Zeros wants it. He will collect it. Does get the kill, but Null actually this time too far forward. At all costs it will be. He will forfeit his life, and that's 1,000 gold to the Syndra. Unfortunately, they committed so much that the Baron is over to PVB.
It's a heavy shutdown, but like he said, it was the Baron that was the true prize. So Null gladly gives his life for that. You now have the ability to start funneling all of these Baroned up super minion waves into Vega's base. And just, it's a matter of time, it feels.
Few would give tactical credit to Null there for his positioning. I will not. But at least his death is not in vain, as the team gets the Baron uncontested as a result.
His only job was to go forward and to look delicious. That's all. Just be a distraction.
Well, it worked. That was the plan. But PVB now, even without their rise, he'll be up in about 15 seconds with his teleport, and they have Baron for 3 minutes with supers in every single lane.
Are we going to pad KDAs? Are we going to end the game? What's the call here?
Time to walk the minions in. I'm expecting Zeros to tower dive any second now, but I mean, Vega have to go. You can't lose all your Nexus turrets without a fight. Big Coral even going invis in view of the turret. Forced to burn the heal, but again, Pallet finds the taunts. Turrets are going to fall. Galley going to try and tank up what he can, but he's not going to last too long. But again, the Nexus is open. PvP just have to wait here. And Big Coral is shooting the Nexus. You have to go. They dive in, pop the Vanguard's Edge. They will get the kill. Meliodas revives. Big Coral, how did he live? The rest of the team dives in. The Nexus is exposed, and that's going to be all she wrote. PVB match point now in the series.
And they just made it look way too easy right there.